Hyundai has made its name on the market as one of the most reliable and affordable car manufacturers out there. I mean, who could blame them? The long mileage and the reliability of the Tucson, Kona, and the previous version of the Tucson, which was iX35, were all very important key figures in how Hyundai developed as a manufacturer. Well, it seems like they want to step up their game, especially when it comes to electric vehicles. One of the brands that are manufactured by Hyundai is the IONIQ, and with the huge records broken with the IONIQ 5, the Korean brand looks to continue its success with the IONIQ 6. Here's everything you need to know about this car, so stick around till the end if you're interested in this masterpiece created by Hyundai. What is very interesting about Hyundai is that they often succeed in making concept cars a reality. The IONIQ 6 is a pure example of that, and although some parts are shared with its predecessor, the IONIQ 6 is a story of its own, and this is a story that Hyundai lives by. Not all cars have to look the same. They all have their different stories, and even though they are inheriting a design that has proven to be successful, the touch of authenticity and originality is what Hyundai aims in every new model. So far, they've been killing it on this field. Design. So let's start with design. One would think that after IONIQ 5, Hyundai doesn't have much left to prove to the car market. Well, you'd think wrong. The IONIQ 6 continued the successful story, and unlike the IONIQ 5, this one is a sleek, four-door, couple saloon, and which again looks more like a concept car than a production model. Compared to the IONIQ 5, which is more like a mashup of a hatchback and an SUV, the originality is added here with this concept. You know the old saying, less is more. Well, this is the case with IONIQ 6, as the exterior is not covered in angular edges or hard creases. Instead, the elegant curves are complemented with pixel headlights and brake lights that have the option to play animations when you lock and unlock the car. The same design continues over to the rear-facing cameras, and if you find it surprising that the vehicle comes with cameras instead of wing mirrors, well, the surprises are just going to keep coming. As for the interior, well, there are huge similarities to the previous version. This, however, isn't necessarily a bad thing, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The interior design of the IONIQ 5 has shown very huge success and potential, and there's no need to change the winning formula once you've discovered it. There is a simple dashboard design with a widescreen infotainment system which consists of two high-resolution 12-inch displays which help Hyundai to run the latest infotainment software. There's one difference when it comes to the interior, and that is that the IONIQ 6 has a fixed center console compared to the sliding one on the IONIQ 5. There are 4 squares that you can see on the wheel in the IONIQ 6, and they were present in the IONIQ 5 version too. However, in the IONIQ 6, you can see the charging state of the car. Therefore, you'll always have a vision in front of yourself regarding the state of your car and how much energy you have left before you can charge it. The wheelbase is shorter in the IONIQ 6 compared to its predecessor, and for those who don't know what the wheelbase is, it's the distance between the front and rear axles. Therefore, the IONIQ 6 rocks 5 centimeters shorter distance than the IONIQ 5, and the roofline is lower by 11 centimeters. One would think, well, they've made quite a small and compact car, didn't they? But if you compare it to, for example, with the BMW 4 Series Grand Coupe, the IONIQ 6 is around 7 centimeters longer and 5 centimeters taller. So take that, BMW. And the one thing that is really bothering all of the Hyundai fans and the potential buyer of the vehicle is the battery range. However, from the company, there isn't any official confirmation about the technical details yet. There are some rumors that the IONIQ 6 uses the same chassis technology as the IONIQ 5, which means that a ton of the parts that could have been used on the IONIQ 5 are now suitable for the new version of this car, which includes the batteries and motors too. One couldn't help but notice the similarity between the IONIQ 6 and Mercedes CLS, especially when it comes to the roof and how it blends with the back of the car. As for the back itself and the way it's designed, it's a high resemblance to the Porsche racing cars, such as the 911 and the Boxer versions. So it seems like Hyundai has taken some inspiration from German manufacturers when it comes to outside looks. Eco-friendliness. Hyundai cares about the environment, and we've seen that with IONIQ 5. The interior of the car is made out of recycled fibers. The outside is painted with water-based paint, and biodegradable recyclable plastic is used for the interior parts. The interior is full of surprises, such as the translucent plastic in the door panels, so you can see what's inside them. The same thing goes to the floor bins too. The carpet inside of the car is made out of fishnets that were pulled out of the seat. So it's a no joke when it comes to eco-friendly cars in Hyundai. The seats are made out of recycled pet fabric, and the leather is dyed with flaxseed oil. The dashboard uses bio-top skin, and the headliner uses bio-pet fabric. The bio paint is used on the door, and more specifically the polyurethane paint that is derived from vegetable oils. So if you're an eco-friendly person, then this car is definitely filling up all your needs. Batteries. The battery capacity will have different ranges, as you would expect in different levels of the car. The experts guess that with the entry level of the IONIQ 6, you'll receive a 58 kilowatt-hour battery and a 77 kilowatt-hour battery in the high-spec models. But due to the nature of the IONIQ 6, which is small and aerodynamic, you should reach around 325 to 350 miles on a single charge of the battery. With the fast chargers, the batteries go from 10 to 80% in around 20 minutes. Compared to the others, some of the newest EVs on the market, the longevity and durability of the battery of the IONIQ 6 will be quite high on the list. With some of the tests being performed on other cars, we can kind of expect where the mileage on the 77 kilowatt-hour battery, the highest spec ones, will vary. For example, the electric version of the Ford Mustang runs on a 76 kilowatt-hour battery, and when it's 100%, it has 273 miles of range. On the open road, this car averages around 3.5 miles with every kilowatt-hour of a battery. But it's heavier and more powerful car than the Hyundai, so it shouldn't be the same as the Korean car. With 80% of the electric version of Skoda IONIQ, the car had 217 miles left and was averaging around 3.5 miles per kilowatt-hour, with the battery being 82 kilowatt-hours. Engines. So what motors are going to be available for the IONIQ 6? Well, if it's to follow the same, mind we say successful yet again, pattern from the IONIQ 5, you'll likely be given the 170 horsepower electric motor, which could go from 0 to 60 in around 8 seconds. You'll likely be given the chance to choose between the single motor models, which are famous for having the most range, and dual motor versions, which would boost the performance of your Hyundai. If you choose the dual motor versions, the horsepower will increase to around 235, and the 0 to 60 will be achieved in around 5.5. The 77 kilowatt-hour battery versions with a single 218 horsepower motor should hit 0 to 60 from a standstill in about 7 seconds. However, there's a high possibility that the Hyundai IONIQ 6 will come out with a quicker dual motor version that can produce around 300 horsepower with the same battery. Therefore, the 0 to 60 mile per hour test will be successfully passed in less than 5 seconds. The prices are very unpredictable with how the situation is currently going with the economic impact of COVID-19 and the war raging on, but we can still guess, right? And if it comes with the same motor and battery options as the IONIQ 5, then the cost will be somehow similar, with you being able to purchase a 58 kilowatt-hour battery for around 40,000 pounds, and the top spec cars with the 77 kilowatt-hour battery and dual motors will be around 50,000 pounds. The car is set to be released in 2023, and with it being labeled as an alternative to the BMW i4 and the Tesla Model 3, it's something that you should have high up on your priorities when it comes to purchasing an electric vehicle. With that being said, we really hope that you enjoyed our video and our review of the Hyundai IONIQ 6. This car will follow the footsteps of the IONIQ 5, but is set to be a masterpiece that will only complement the genius design and technology that Hyundai made on their electric cars. It's no secret that electrification is the future, and with other brands trying to push the market as much as they can, it seems like Hyundai will be one of the best choices available on the market.